Hello and welcome to Dul Johnson's Creative Talks. I'm still responding to queries from my viewers. I'm supposed to be talking about revision and editing, but I want to open it up, I want to expand it. I want to talk about 4 things that should be understood together. So I'll talk to you about rewriting, revision, editing, and proofreading. It's very important that you get to understand these at the same time. I hope you've been learning something from these videos if you've been watching regularly. And please don't forget to share. My ambition is to be able to make 1 million writers in Nigeria in the next just 1 year. Okay, so what are these processes? If you were the person that wanted to know about revision and editing, please, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm saying. Let's begin with rewrites. You know, you have finished writing your story, your novel, even if it is a poem, even if it is a play, these processes apply. Now, when you have finished writing and you read through, you are going to discover that it is not a perfect work. You are going to discover that there are gaps, that there are things you have not put in the story in terms of, the flow of the story, scenes that ought to be there to be able to make the story fuller, more interesting, more complete. So you are going to begin to go back to put in a number of things that you think are missing. Now that is what I mean by rewriting. Of course, some of them you will have to change the things you have written to write them better. All of that is process of rewriting. But there is a lot to be brought in the process of rewriting. That's the first thing to do. Then when you are done with rewriting, yes, you need to revise. Now, if you have gone to any formal school, even from primary, secondary, university, you must have come across the word revision and you must have experienced it. There is the need to go back on the things you have learned or on the things you have written to see, to remember, and to see whether they are the way you wanted them to be. So, you see, what you are doing now is, I have finished writing the story. Is it exactly in spite of the rewrites? Is everything okay? Are the words I want to use? Have I described this character the way, So revising is a process of changing bits and pieces to improve, on what you have done in the story. There is nothing major. You could slightly move certain things one place to another, rephrase sentences and so on and so forth, right? You're not going to be dealing with characters and, like you do in rewrites, okay? So that is what revision means. Then we move to the more serious process of editing. Some people are not able to edit by themselves, and they give other people who are more experienced or professionals to edit for them. In which case, there is going to be another level of rewriting. Editing doesn't just mean checking your spelling, checking your sentence, whether the grammar is right or no. That's not it at all. It's more than that. Of course, that is part of it. But you see, the editor is going to want to see if you actually make sense in what you are saying in each sentence, in each paragraph, and whether this paragraph connects well with this and the next, and whether this chapter should be here or it should come earlier, and so on and so forth. So there is going to be major decisions, to make your story flow and be stronger. The idea is to make sure that there is something professional about your story. Okay? It is not, the editor is not going to change your characters. Even you editing yourself, you are not going to change your characters. Of course, but you have the right. If you think that you haven't presented the character very well, in the process of editing, if you didn't do it in the process of revising, you can do it in the process of editing. But you're also going to make sure that your grammar is correct, that the sentences are written in proper English, except where you are using colloquialism or you are using transliteration, and then there are marks, of course, to show that this is what you're doing, so that even if your reader is not a Nigerian, they can understand that this is the reason you have done this. And of course, the final thing will be to proofread. And this is because no matter how good you are at the point of writing, mistakes are bound to happen, especially typographical errors. Normally, proofreading is to ensure that spellings are correct. We do in Nigeria, we mix up spellings. Sometimes we are using the British spelling, sometimes we're using the American spelling, and so on and so forth. You want to be sure that you are consistent. You want to be sure that the spelling is the correct one. You want to be, there are words, for example, you want to use L-E-A-V-E, and you use L-I-V-E. Of course, if you are depending on your computer to change it for you, it's not going to do it because the spelling is correct as far as the dictionary in your computer is concerned. But if you do proofreading, you are going to eliminate all of that. Now, so if your L-I-V-E carries an S where there should be no S, you've changed the meaning of your sentence. Of course, the proofreader will take that. Grammatically, it has even destroyed your sentence. And there's so many such small errors that can happen. So these will need to be taken care of. Now the question has been how to take care of this. I can tell you, two things should happen. One is that you should allow some time to pass after you have finished writing, because whatever you've just done will still be in your mind. And if you go back to do all of these processes immediately, well, you can do revision almost immediately, but please allow time to pass before you do the editing and proofreading. If you don't do that, you are likely to still make the same mistakes. The error will be there, your eyes will gloss over it, but your mind will be reading something different. What is in your mind and you thought is what you have put there. Okay? So, but if you distance yourself from the work for some time and you go back, you'll be able to see those things clearly and correct them. So that's one way to do it. The second, of course, is what I had said earlier. You can give somebody else to take a look at for you. Okay? You are not God in any way. So we are all bound to make mistakes. And especially when our total presence of mind is not there. Now, it's also important that you shouldn't do such work when you have other things distracting you. You must do it at a time, at a moment when all of your mind is in one place. You don't have any worries. You are just here for this purpose. You are spending 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. If for any reason there's going to be distraction, stop. And don't also try to do it all at once, because fatigue will definitely come in. Best of all, do your proofreading chapter by chapter or segment by segment. Take some time, do some today, rest. Do some the next day, rest. Look, if you're in a hurry to finish and send your story to the publisher or printer, that's a very big mistake. Good luck.